The Summit Ascent is a solid summit with a twist, and it's available now. Zach will be in this one, and we'll get a little more in depth to help the more active tournament bowlers figure out where it fits and what situations it will be the most useful in. Back with the monologue, but if I don't say it, you don't hear it. We are, of course, at Royal Crest Lanes in Lawrence, Kansas, bowling on the Kegel Chromium Challenge pattern. The lane graph is linked in the description if you want to take a look at the details. Make sure to also check the description for instructional videos, links, and discount codes. There's some actually good stuff down there. It's not just sucker traps. The Summit Ascent features the same centripetal HD with AI core as the original and the Peak, very low 246 RG and very high 056 differential. That's about as strong as you're going to get a symmetric core. Very early and strong rolling, very high flare, big strong engine. The cover is where the twist is. Rather than the same strong TX23 cover formula that was on the Summit and Summit Peak, which is an evolution of the cover from the Phase 2, the Ascent gets Old Faithful in R2S Solid, which is one of the best covers in history. It's still currently on the IQ Tour Solid, and has a very near cousin on the Absolute Power with R2S Deep. Now on paper this should be a smoother power, a step down from the original Summit, or in similar territory as Rotogrip's original TNT. Quick recap from what we talked about with Tobias. Again, very strong symmetric core, but medium to lower strength solid cover that comes at 4,000, which is where Zach left it. He did bowl with it a bit before we filmed, so I think it got lightly lane shined. A very clean, smoother ball, prefers straighter angles, maybe a ball for the fresh on a house shot, but Zach concurs with Tobias that it's definitely not in play on the fresh on this pattern. Great step down from the weaker ASIMs or stronger symmetric balls, so let's talk a little bit about how it looks for Zach, then get into some use cases. It's a little rounder shaping and more continuous for Zach than it was for Tobias. For Tobias, it's shaped a lot more like the Peak. The tumbly, slightly forward rolling to directional reaction on the back end, and kind of a more defined reaction to friction. It is, however, still pretty clean and pretty tame. Now Zach usually has an extra arrow left with stuff versus Tobias. Tobias has a bit more speed, Zach has a heavier roll, but Zach had to really milk it to get out of it what he did, much deeper than third arrow. So again, Zach is basically a full-time PBA regional player. He makes every stop he can, so while we're definitely trying to shoot a ball review, it's dual purpose. He moves around and tries different things to test the ball's ability and range both for you and for him, and part of that is trying to make a ball strike from everywhere. I'll have an outtake in the Optimum Pearl video where he mentioned something to that effect, but it's not trying to strike to make it look good for a video. It's trying to see what he has to do from where to get the ball to perform. If he's got to throw it really hard from straight or really slow it down from deep, that's information that tells him which zones that ball is going to work the best for him in. The pros are the pros because they're better than the rest of us, but they're also smarter than the rest of us. They play their A game, if at all possible. They line up where they're the most comfortable at and where the most missed room is at and just abuse that. It's about getting the pins down, not getting excited about a specific ball or trying to be abstract and show everyone how good they are by doing weird or extra difficult things. The best ones just line up and knock pins down however that has to happen. While Zach can get anything to hook, volumes are pretty high on the PBA patterns, so stronger stuff with surface is usually in play, and even when they're shorter length, you still need surface to blend them out. Zach put surface on the ball for a couple shots and it just puked. He definitely prefers it shiny, gives it some length and pop, but a lot of control because the core is so strong and early that it helps to blend the reaction out. For him, it's going to be a late block or friction ball for when there's a lot of transition, or maybe even on drier house shots when he needs strong ball roll without strong ball traction. I said in Tobias's video that it's a solid 3-ball, but it may even be a 4-ball for Zach. It's definitely weaker end / lower side of his bag. I think that given enough friction, he'll be able to play from anywhere. It is more continuous for him. It's not wanting to go forward, so he could get deeper with it with dry enough lanes. Comparing to the Summit Peak, which he's still using and does like, again, Pearl doesn't automatically mean long and flippy, and solid doesn't mean early and smooth. Cover formula is much more important. The Peak has the stronger cover formula, so it's getting quite a bit more done than the Ascent is. The Ascent is cleaner, smoother, and ultimately almost an arrow weaker. The Ascent would be a similar rolling ball down from the Peak. Zach's 1-ball slot is Magic Gem territory, 2-ball is DNA coil and absolute power. Peak would be in the 3-ball slot, so the Ascent would end up in 4-ball territory for him with the IQ Tour Solid because it's only marginally stronger than the IQ. The Summit Ascent along with the Optimum Idle Pearl are both available now. Don't forget to check out the description for all the codes and links. There's some really good and helpful stuff down there. And make sure that Rosedoll10 gets entered at checkout at CoolWick to knock 10% off. This video was brought to you by Panda Bear Productions. We put the in bowling. Thanks for watching, and may the strikes be with you.
Rolled that one a little too much.